So we can now switch to government responses in this period, times of crisis. So I think you are speaking about what the US, the measures that the US is taking. Yeah.
So I think, again, they've taken the mightiest powers so far. We saw just on Thursday, they debated on the floor about their 2 trillion stimulus package. I think we discussed about them sending, we're almost calling it helicopter money, where they're sending a check to every American for 100,000 Kenya shillings.
$2 trillion.
$2 trillion.
That's like our entire stock market, value of our stock market.
Yes. So it doubled the value of our stock market almost, because we're at almost 1.3, 1.4. Remember, yes.
No, it's about 1.8.
1.6 actually, I think we've come to $1.6.
Trillion.
Sorry,
yes.
So yeah, close to one.
Also, actually, it's trillion. We're talking about trillion shillings.
Yes.
That is $1 trillion.
Dollars, correct. No, it's a different ballgame altogether.
So, oh gosh, this is like.
Because we're talking about
this is like the
200 trillion.
This is like the entire GDP of Africa.
Correct.
$2 trillion.
Kenya, we are talking about?
No, Kenya is just about $80 billion.
Yes.
So, but the whole continent is about $2 trillion.
Correct.
So that's the
firepower they have.
That's the liquidity they're unleashing into the market.
Correct. And they start by, of course, it goes into different sectors. So there's the money we say they're sending a check of $1,000 to every American.
$1,000 to every American.
Yes. There's the money they've set aside now for the law they just invoked, where they'll start funding companies like GE, even your pharmaceutical companies, companies that make cars now will start making ventilators. Those are the key ingredients or key equipment that the healthcare needs, especially because when the COVID patients get to the hospitals, I think part of their critical need is helping them to breathe, because this is more of a respiratory problem. So we've seen, again, $2 trillion that has been passed. Now it's
been thrown to people,
them,
households.
Correct. And they've said now they are willing to do even more. We've seen them brought their rates to now 0. Understand? We've seen them now sending more of the funds to each of the 53 states to try and fight with this. So I think by far they've brought the biggest stimulus to them.
Let's discuss it a little bit because some things appear a bit disconnected. Let me explain myself. You are shutting down the economic activity. People are being told to stay in their homes, maintain social distance. So opportunities of spending are becoming increasingly limited. And you're throwing money at people. Are we? I can understand why we should throw money at the public healthcare, but throwing money at people, it's not as a friend of mine was telling me, this is not a demand problem. It's a different problem. And are we addressing this the wrong way?
Let me expand on that, because we've had these discussions with a couple of our friends. So when the COVID started, what we started with was a supply chain shock. So all of us wanted to consume. If you come back home, all of us wanted to consume. You buy your mtumba from China, but not China cannot export to you. So it became a supply side shock. We rely on medicines from China, we can't get them anymore. We are willing to buy, we have the capacity to buy, but we can't get it. So, and that's what we saw all the way from the US and the UK.
And that is not increased demand. That's just a demand gap because of supply chain challenges.
It's an equilibrium where we are buying the same amount you're buying. You expect to receive the same supplies.
But now it is not coming through.
Supplies is not coming through. Remember, to this point, we don't have a demand. We don't have a demand.
So our demand has remained the same level.
Demand has remained the same. Supply has
come down.
Now, what has happened right now, because of course of the stay at home and all that campaign that has been run globally, is now the demand also has started to lower. You understand?
Significantly.
Correct. And now those are some of the causes that lead to significant inflations. We have unemployment, we have all that stuff. So what is the US trying to do? The US is trying to, especially for you who's been told to stay at home, and the US has a very big problem, like us, of wage workers, those people who are almost hand to mouth, Every day you go make your $500, you come back.
Paid by the hour.
Correct, paid by the hour. So what are they trying to do for these guys? Remember, these guys, without that, they are almost unable to feed themselves. So now it's to make sure, because now they're at least managing the supply side and what they're calling now the essential services.
So they become state dependent.
Correct, they become state dependent. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make sure that as much as now we're protecting the essential services, call that quote unquote the supply side, is we have enough ability, and we've buffered up the demand side. So we're paying you to make sure you know you can buy your medicine, you can buy your food, you can still pay your rents. We've seen them now suspending mortgages. They're calling it a mortgage holiday. You know, we've seen them suspending loans for at least 3 months until they sort this out, just to make sure we don't have those significant shocks within the economy. So for now, the key important things, even for any government, is to make sure
that people are surviving.
People are surviving. People are generally eating. We have the utilities running as usual, so you have your water and power and everything without the need for you to be asked to pay. So it's almost now, again, you're surviving on the stage.
So this is not an economic stimulant. This is just a survival.
It's a survival. I don't know why they keep calling it stimulus. Correct. It's a survival move.
And that's why this whole thing then it's getting misunderstood.
Correct.
Yeah, because I think it's a stimulus package.
Yes, in a stimulus.
But what are you stimulating?
Exactly. You understand? I think they need to call it what it needs to be called.
Yes.
This is basically a survival package. Yeah. Because you know you're a wage worker, the guy who sells to you the key holders when you're driving in traffic, and now he's been asked to stay at home. What is he supposed to feed his family on? You understand? So when the government comes in and tells him we give you 1,000 shillings, this is not a stimulus package. It's not buffering up demand, you know, for him to go to Mombasa on holiday and all that stuff. No, this is to basically make sure that this guy is surviving today. We'll deal about tomorrow when you get there, you understand? So again, as we've agreed, I think we can call it a survival package.
Okay, interesting. So that's what the US is doing. Any other country that you want to touch?